hope this video isn't very long, but we'll see about that, because I like to yap. It's also late at night. Guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my review of Daredevil Born Again. This was honestly probably the show is probably one of my favorite just experiences that I've ever had watching a Marvel TV show. Usually when it came to all the other Marvel TV shows, I think this is with this show it was the most excited I've been for something maybe since Loki, or I personally really liked Agatha all along, so maybe also for that. X-Men 97, stuff like that. And yeah, so just want to say that at the start, and also just want to preface that I also watched the original Netflix Daredevil show for the first time before watching Daredevil Born Again. So just so you know that, and so you don't kill me. Anyways, let's get started with this review. So overall score for this movie is my overall score for this show, my overall score for this show is probably gonna be around an 8.5 out of 10, probably. I think overall it had some really great moments, probably some of, in my opinion, some of the best, and at least MCU TV moments. But it also had a bit of its problems. I guess we'll start with the cons, because I guess I technically do have less of them. So we'll start with the cons. I definitely think and I think a lot of people will agree on this, I think you can definitely feel the reshoots and the overhaulness of this whole thing that happened. Basically, if you don't know, when this show was first announced, and kind of the plot and what it was going to be about came out, and everybody was a bunch of the fans the OG Daredevil show were what is this, why isn't, I think it was they weren't gonna bring back Foggy and Karen. They were gonna do, I think I heard somewhere that they were gonna do some do of Matt's origin story. They were gonna recast Vanessa and stuff like that, so people didn't like that. So then they were okay, so then they were okay, we'll make this more of a direct follow-up to the original Daredevil show. And they rewrote the story, brought back Foggy and Karen, kept the original actress for Vanessa, all that kind of stuff. And you can definitely feel it. The stuff that happens in episode 1, after episode 1, basically up until you get episode 1, and it starts off with them killing Foggy and all that, killing Foggy, and then that whole thing, and then that kind of takes a break, and then from episodes 2, and then it kind of ties back in a little bit with the Punisher scene in episode 4, but then it kind of goes off the rails a bit, and then episodes 8 and 9 obviously goes back. So yeah, it the show felt a little bit disjointed in those kinds of things. And so I think, and also just the way they handled some characters like Muse, which I think is another thing that a lot of people can agree on. I think they highly, and I think that is also kind of like through the like whole rehaul and everything like that, like you could definitely tell that they wanted Muse to be like a villain of like, or maybe even not, but you can tell that like maybe they did want Muse to be like, you know, a main villain for the show in the original version, but then once, you know, they overhauled it and wanted to make it more, you know, Bullseye and Fisk and all this stuff, like they're like, oh, let's get rid of Muse. So it's like, and I thought Muse was an interesting villain, and also knowing what his abilities were like more in the comics. I do agree that they, you know, used him, because if you don't know, like in the comics, Muse is like supposed to have like an actual power where he can like make Matt not able to like sense him, and so that's what makes, you know, like him and actually like a more like kind of more interesting. But then in the show they kind of just made him, you know, just a normal guy who, you know, they explain the reason why he's able to fight so well is because he was trained in whatever martial art it was. I don't even remember what it was. But I will say I do really like the actor who played Muse. I love him. I loved him in Wednesday. And I also heard that, like, you know, this guy like keeps getting like typecast as like psychopaths, but I'm like, he does it really well. So I mean, but anyways, a couple of things that like I've heard that were negatives for some people that didn't really bother me as much. I know a lot of people didn't like that they killed off Foggy at the beginning. That personally didn't bother me as much, and that may be because I, you know, just recently watched the original Daredevil show, but also I think that, to me, Foggy's death is justified because I think that the literal name of the show is Daredevil Born Again, right? And so I think, and I loved the aspect of the show where it was like the whole thing of this thing happens, which is Foggy's death, which then causes Matt to stop being Daredevil, and then the whole like growth of his character in the show is Daredevil being born again and Matt like starting to be Daredevil again. And I think if you look at that being the reason as to why they killed Foggy, I think personally that makes it a lot more justified. And so it's like, yeah, if this was, you know, just marketed as, oh, this is Daredevil season 4, or if it was called something different, then yeah, I probably would have been more upset that they killed Foggy. But I just, like, to me, I just can't think of another, like, big enough event to happen that would, you know, cause Matt to, you know, completely give up on his life of Daredevil. Like, that's just, like, what makes sense to me in my brain. So, I don't know. But I do get where some people are coming from because I will give you that the like in-show explanation is kind of stupid. But I think if you just look at it as like, this is the event that's supposed to catalyst, you know, Matt's journey, like, or at least a part of Matt's journey for the whole show. I think if you look at it that way, it kind of makes it a bit better. But again, I'm not gonna hate on anybody that hates that they killed Foggy, because it also might be the fact that I watch a lot of, like, you know, the true crime, like, cop shows, like Criminal Minds and all that kind of stuff. I watch a lot of those types of shows, and in those shows they kill off main characters a lot. So maybe I'm just like so used to it at this point, but I don't even know. I also saw like a couple things about how like the ending of the finale kind of like had like too many like loose ends, and that also didn't really bother me as much, and I don't really know why. I think it's just like it just didn't really bother me, and that also maybe because we know that this show's already, we know we're already getting season 2, so maybe that's why I kind of like am more okay with it, and I may be like just like looking at it through rose-tinted goggles of, oh, we're already getting season 2, so it doesn't really bother me as much. But no, I think they like, and it's almost like you kind of have to give people something to like want to watch season 2. And I get that, you know, people may think, oh, it was too much or whatever, but I think it was, you know, enough to like, you know, leave people for wanting to watch season 2. So that also didn't really bother me as much. But yeah, but also, so I guess now getting into some of the positives of this show, obviously love the performances, or at least like, I would say like the 3 standout performances to me are obviously Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Honestly, after watching this show and also watching the original Daredevil show, Charlie Cox is probably in my top 3, maybe top 2 actors of all time. I just love him, and also like listening to, you know, him in interviews and about like how much, you know, he loves playing this character, and, you know, and stuff like that. I just love him so much. So obviously his performance in this show was amazing. Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, also amazing. Like I think it's, if they ever do, like, if Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio ever step out of those roles and they do have to end up recasting Daredevil and Kingpin, I think people are just gonna, you know, keep constantly comparing them to Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, because Charlie Cox is Matt Murdock and Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin. Like, I don't think there's any question to that, and their performances were just honestly some of the best performances in just some of the best performances that I've seen in, you know, like TV shows and stuff like that. And also, third, he wasn't in it that much, but I think he stole almost every scene that he was in, and that is John Bernthal as Punisher. Again, so good. He was, you know, seeing him originally in season 2 of the original show, and then in this, just, he stole every scene that he was in, and some of the, like, hilarious one-liners that he had, especially in the finale, when, like, Matt was, like, walking away in the hospital gown, and then Punisher's like, or you're gonna do this with your ass hanging out and stuff like that. It's just like those like types of lines were just like so funny to me. But yeah, I thought a lot of I feel like majority of the fights were amazing. Like the starting off with, episode 1, the fight with Matt and Bullseye in episode 1, the fight at the end of episode 2, I think Daredevil's first fight with Muse, like the fight with Muse in Muse's lair, I love that fight. The apartment fight with Matt and Punisher against the task force in the finale, I thought that was a really good fight. And I think that leads me into my next point. I love how, even though this show is on Disney Plus, they didn't Disneyify it. They kept it, they kept the violence, and in some cases even exceeded the violence of the original. Like, I don't think I will ever get over the scene in the finale when Kingpin just squished that guy's head. Like, that, like, and I hear, and I've heard a lot of people talking about how, like, that's worse than the car door in season 1 of Daredevil, and I agree. Like, decapitating somebody in the car door, yeah, it's gross, but at the same time, it's like, that's almost something that, like, is realistically for just, like, like if a person was mad enough, they probably could decapitate somebody's head in a car door. But, like, to have the physical, like, strength to just crush somebody's head and, like, skull like that, I'm just like, what? Like, literally, like, I think my mouth was just like this, like, for, like, a good, like, minute or, like, 2 minutes after that happened, because I was just like, what just happened? Like, what? And yeah, so, and then obviously, like, loved some other character. I think Dex, even though he really wasn't in the season a lot, I thought his performance was really good. I don't know her name, but the woman who plays Vanessa, I think she does a really good job. And also I think they did a really good job in the show of showing just, like, that Vanessa is, like, maybe just as evil as Fisk, like it's insane, but yeah, didn't really like Heather, especially towards the beginning, after or at the end, when she, like, aligned herself with, like, went to work for Fisk, and, like, a bunch of the stuff that she was, like, saying to Matt and stuff like that. And, like, I liked them. Like, when her and Matt first got together, like, towards the beginning of the season, I was like, oh, they're cute, like, and stuff like that. And I was like, but then, all of the, like, the stuff that she was saying about, vigilantes and obviously, like, not really trusting Matt, and, like, and obviously, going to work for Fisk at the end, it was just like, I was just like, I don't really like her. I just don't like her. But yeah, that's about all I can think of. There was, like, I'm really excited for season 2. Obviously at the end, Matt said that they need to get an army in order to take down Fisk, and so I think, as sad as it is, I don't think we're getting Spider-Man, just solely because of the legal things. We could get, and I'm honestly kind of hoping we get Defenders, because I didn't really watch as many of those. Like, I didn't really watch any of, like, the, you know, like, the individual, like, other, like, Luke Cage and, like, Jessica Jones. I didn't really watch any of those, but if they are in season 2, then that would be cool. But, yeah. Overall, would give the show about 8.5. It's overall a really good show with a lot of really great moments. Just has a couple flaws in, you know, the kind of stitched together, like, storylines with, like, trying to combine the, you know, stuff from pre-overhaul and post-overhaul, and you know, there's a couple of, you know, just a couple of, like, little other, like, little moments, but overall, pretty good show. Really excited for season 2, and yeah, that's about it for this review. Make sure to like and subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd. I am trying to post more. I'm gonna be trying to post more shorts on Instagram, so be on the lookout for those. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.